哇，拒绝 ，nice。
你没有足够的金矿。
PVP。
补给没了，多干。需要更多金矿，这堆石头可以用吗？工程车要被打爆了啦！需要更多高能瓦斯。指挥中心升级完成。你不能待在那里。建筑完成，降落程序中断。附属建筑完工，金矿不足，
好，那先。
指挥中 部署建准好了。研发完成。
我们完蛋了！
金矿没了，看来要打到后期了。进攻降落区域，围住。降落程序中断，能量不足。需要更多能量。你不能盖在那里，金矿耗尽了。你没有足够的金矿，金矿不足，你的采矿单位饱和了吗？指挥中心完成，需要更多金矿。这堆石头够用吗？
子干线需要协助，我继续放手。
你不能盖在那里。我们需要更多金矿，金矿没了，看来要部署金矿不足，我们需要更多金矿。老一辈的都研发能量不足。基地受到攻击了，金矿不足，单位饱和了。 多金矿，研发完成。需要更多能量，你是不是开自动释放？
Ah, vale.
需要更多高能瓦斯。需要更多高能瓦斯。开富矿的时候到了。 附属建筑完工。指挥中心升级完成。
对，花有对应。fuck。
附属建筑完工。敌人在骚扰你的太空基地遭到攻击。混乱吗？你的太空工程车要被打爆了啦！
我们这里
基地受到攻击了，冷静。非常严重的攻击！
我们这里需要点帮忙。
附属建筑完工。能量不足。基地遭到攻击。
哎，Nelson，新年快乐 ，Happy New Year！ 来，宝贝 ，Happy New Year！
我们
应该是新年快乐，龙年行大运。Dragon， 哎呦！大年初一冲一波，想要打一下、啊。
你没有足够的金矿。
现在这个是狙仔啊，石宝太空了、啊。但是他要玩，我就陪他玩喽。
这堆石头可以用吗？
他觉得上面是很风光吧。
需要更多的补给。
他开条码，我也不知道他风光什么。上次他被我虐爆啊，结果他很崩溃吧，一直想要挑战我，我也没有法。哎呀！你知道你爸爸在这吗，兄弟？很怕。
指挥中心升级完成。需要更多高能瓦斯。你的采矿单位饱和了吗？
哎呀，今天打得还蛮好看的，但是我看 Beyond 输掉。有点小可惜。
完蛋了！
部署建准好了，也太久了吧？
哦，我会怕哎。 哎呀！
你不能待在那里。补给没了，多盖一些补给站。需要更多的补给站。补给没了，多盖一些补给站。需要更多的补给站啦！需要更多的补给站。你不能盖在那里，你没有足够的金矿。我们需
有人可以带我离开这场混乱吗？
需要更多金矿。这堆石头可以用吗？金矿耗尽了。你不能盖在那里。附属建筑完工。单位变强了。附属建筑完工。需要更能量不足，你没有足够的金矿不足，金矿不足，你的采矿单位打没了吗？需要更多能量。你是不是开自动师？
哦，这么行啊！哇，可惜没有推下来。
更多金矿，这堆石头可以用吗？金矿没了，看来要打到后期了。你的采矿单位饱和了吗？金矿场采光了。金矿不足。我们需要更多金矿。你没有足够的金矿。金矿靠近了，需要更多金矿。这堆石头研发结束。我们需要更多金矿。你没有足够的金矿，金矿不足。
有点可惜，有点可惜。刚那一波，后面那一波，第二波应该直接接上来的，接上他应该狙了。PC。
金矿不足，你的采矿单位饱和了吗？
哎，今年谁那谁 ，Rainer 有点可惜耶 ，Rainer 直接被4-0吧，还没有晋级。我问一下啊，那键盘声音会不会太吵？
动能瓦斯不够了。
如果太吵的话，我把键盘声音关掉。没声有太吵吗？会不会吵到你们家人？
动能瓦斯
哎呀！
附属建筑好了，也太久了吧？能量不足，指挥中心升级完成。
哇塞！
我们的太空工程车受到攻击，附属建筑完工。敌人在骚扰你，需要更多。没有足够的金矿。金矿不足，
Nice， 听习惯了，没声音反而不行。哦，还是因为如果说没声音的话，有可能是看 RP 的感觉，就在看播放影片的感觉，就没有直播那种效果，所以有声音是比较好。他刚虫洞我也吓到了。Nice， 哦，狙击仔又来了。他真的很喜欢上电视，不是我在讲。来说上电视是他的乐趣。
你的采矿单位饱和了吗？需要更多金矿。这堆石头可以用吗？补给没了，多盖一些补给站。
他农民会对虫族的时候，他妈妈虫洞，我农民也死蛮多的。
金矿不足，指挥中心升级完成。 们需要更多金矿。指挥中心在。
我们完蛋了。
部署建准好了，也太久了吧？需要更多的补给站啦，金矿不足。补给没了，我们建筑完工。需要更多的补给站。这里需要更多的补给站啦。需要更多的补给站。补给没了，多盖一些补给站。需要更多的补给站啦！我们的太空工程车受到攻击。
有人在我离开这条混乱吗？
你知道敌人会攻击你的基地吗？
哎呀，冲矿一波，难怪他不喜欢那么快出。我看现在打到哪里？Hero 对 Showtime，Hero 赢了。
你没有足够的金矿。 更多金矿，这些石头可以用吗？金矿不足，你的采矿单位饱和了吗？
我看河马打虫族的话，最近都是打机械化。火车那个火车，然后搭配飞弹车的机械化，蛮厉害的。他昨天把手把给干了。
指挥中心需要更多高能瓦斯，开富矿的时候到了。进攻降落区域，围控一下好不好？附属建筑好了，也太久了吧！附属建筑完工。补给没了，多盖一些补给站。
哦 fuck！
完工。你的太空工程车要被地质跑了！
哇！中期的双矿一波，不中期啊，三矿假三矿一波了，假三矿争一波。
我们需要更多的。需要更多金矿，这堆石头可以用吗？补给没了，多盖一些补给站。需要更多高能瓦斯。指挥中心升级完成。部署建筑好了，也太久了吧？金矿不足，你的采矿单位饱和了吗？指挥中心升级完成，能量不足。 属建筑完工。需要更多的补给站啦！需要更多功能网。
我们完蛋了！
需要更多高能瓦斯。你不能盖在那里。完成。附属建筑。
我靠！
你的太空工程车要被打倒了啦！我们的太空工程车受到攻击。敌人在骚扰太空工程车。没救下来了！知道敌人是攻击你的基地吗？基地遭到攻击。降落程序中断。进攻降落区域，围困下来。需要更多金矿。金矿不足，降落程序中断。你没有足够的金矿。
双矿一波。
你没有足够的金矿。我们需要更多金矿。需要更多的补给站啦！不能盖在那里。高等瓦斯不足。指挥中心升级完成。太空工程车受到攻击，
我有大麻烦了。
附属建筑好了，也太久了吧？金矿不足，附属建筑完工。金矿不足，需要更多金矿。这堆石头可以用吗？指挥中心。附属建筑完工。敌人在骚扰你的太空工程车。 能量不足。降落区，围住下。你没有足够的金矿。
拒绝。
minutes ago, 2 minutes ago. It just continues to get better. Now Solar finally being really obnoxious with the cracklings is going to once again distract Clem on the top side. Great split away from the parasitic bombs. The Vikings will go down, but I mean, this is not quite going to be enough. And actually, Baneling's rolling in here to the Liberator, to a lot of chonky bio units. The Planetary might go down, but it actually is going to be at a huge cost. SCV still repairing. No, it is not going to go down. And the other command center was canceled.
He cancelled the command center. He was scanning to clear up Burrow Zerglings, denied a Nidus, split units sniped at the same time as macroing perfectly. That was an inhuman piece of control. And guess what? Solar, that was his big push. He's out of bank now.
Yeah.
Sora 对 Clay 0-0开始。
Solar has thrown everything he has at Clem. Clem has survived. He is over 20,000 resources more efficient. He has 7 or 8 orbitals. He's got a planetary up in the south that will not go down. Solar is continuing to try and throw it in, but Clem is maxed with a 25 army supply advantage. He is playing out of his mind.
Yeah, absolutely spectacular display of TVZ from both parties, but it feels like Clem, since he dropped down low in supply very much earlier on in this game, he has actually found himself in the swing of things. He's reminding himself of how good he was against Cyril in Atlanta, and he's bringing that back after a rocky start, a rocky mid-game. He is looking bulletproof in the late game, continuing to increase his lead in the resources trade, while also getting that ever important expansion up on the 6 o'clock. But Solar is relentless about attacking into this third phase. He's going to try once again, but there is that army coming in again from the south that Solar has to respect.
Watch out for the fungal, Clem. Oh, Solar with a nice
Oh my gosh, Ghost.
Chain fungals on the ghosts. Parasitic bombs on the Liberators. But there's so many more Liberators behind that. The Bio pulling back. The Hydra's trying to get on top. Can he clear that front? He does break the northern line of Libs. Nice move by Solar. The Banelings crashing into the natural. The Marauders barely hold. There's a pack of Hydras behind it. Juicy orbitals. That's a nice pick off. Solar finding some value with that push. Really digging deep. Solar may have been less efficient in this game, but look at this. He's mining the top base. He's mining the bottom middle base. He realizes he has to try and steal these resources from Clem's side of the map. Solar is doing everything he can right now.
Yeah, I would love to see more Liberator harassment, as he does have Lib range. So yeah, you can actually outrange that Spore Crawler. Also on 6 o'clock for Solar, but we're not getting there quite yet.
解放者太牛逼了。
Also hold on against the relentless Solar. He was urgently microing clearly in that last battle, so like 6 or something Liberators pointed their own direction, at least 3 at the very least, which also impacted how well that looked for Solar. But Clem is back on the rise for supply. Their worker count's actually very much evened up. Clem just a little bit lower in the army. It's all going to come down to control right now. Woodamine hits big and is going to scare Solar away temporarily.
Clem struggling to remax right now. Solar, he's up in between the rallies. Solar obviously doesn't have any extra resources to draw on either. So, oh, this Liberator harass is brilliant though. This was so integral in Clem actually winning back in Atlanta against Cyril, against Solar, against all of them. It was how, when I'm stuck on the defense all game, can I exert a bit of counter pressure? And this is exactly it. My only fear is that's like 6 or 7 lives that doesn't have them at home.
Yeah, exactly. And they have been a crucial addition at times. They will hold some of these chokes, just 1 or 2 of them very, very well. But when he's caught off guard, that is the different situation here. Caught off guard, completely not able to defend that base, is going to be able to replace it. And in terms of the worker losses, it was actually a trade thanks to the offensive Liberators. Clem going to take a more forward position as he does prepare to take the base back. Liberators still completely denying mining from many locations, almost from here. As we move forward a little bit. And Clem is actually the one who is remaxing faster. Solar, he had a little bit more mineral bank. Now that's also gone.
Oh, he's so long.
知道怎么采矿。
The Infestors, if they can land some good spells, maybe, just maybe, Solar can keep denying his space and get this to happen. Double EMP lands on the front Infestor. The other ones are burrowing. He's looking for a flank. He's going to pull back and shark in on the north. Nice Infestor split. 1 good scan on those, and this is game over. But 1 good fungal on all that bio. And the opposite might be true.
Oh, it was the last second of the
水哦。
now that also tipped Clem off to the strategy. So he sent the scan to the north as well. Speaking of the north, we do have
Solar 感觉要崩了。
impacting the hatcheries and mining of Solar. As Solar goes in for a potential final blow, it's not going to happen. Parasitic bomb injuring some of the medivacs. That command center might be a goner there once again, but Clem has the Ghost Army looking for the revenge snipes, going after this army, and Solar will not be able to replace it.
Dead even in supply right now. 137 for Solar, 135 for Clem. Solar knows he needs to deny this base. The pressure's on him. He knows if mules get dropped on that base, he's screwed. He's running out of bank, he's running out of money. He's going to take out all the SCVs. Look at that, Clem's economy's getting shredded, but the Hydras get sniped. A line up there. It's a shooting gallery.
Oh my god.
Wow, absolutely
Amazing.
Incredible display of TVZ from both players. But it really felt like when Solar had gotten that 40 or 50 supply lead, that was his moment. If he got it right there, Clem is broken in that game and might have been too disappointed to really carry on his best in future games. Instead, he rallied, he came back in the supply, and then it felt like he was playing at his absolute best. Everything he was doing to defend Solar's aggression worked out well for him. He played the late game so freaking well.
What a fantastic display. I'm so pleased. You know, in these big tournaments, you see a mixture of players just absolutely falling short of their potential, and then players stepping up and playing above what you've ever seen from them. And I really feel like a lot of players, you know, would have been frustrated that they couldn't really break in and kill Clem with the early game that Solar had, because it was an advantaged early game for him. He was definitely a little ahead. But he actually gritted his teeth, spread creep right into Clem's base, non-stop Nidus Worms, non-stop multi-prong, the Infestors and Vipers both being used. But honestly, there is a pace that Clem set here. His ability to hold on and defend was insane. There was a few sequences where I couldn't believe my eyes. There would be multiple parasitic bombs in the midst of like a pack of medevac Liberator. You'd see the exact 2 units that got hit, split from the packs, while spreading bio, while sniping units, while pulling SCVs away from Banelings. And it's just this combination, this flow in the heat of that on your opponent's map pick. Absolutely impressed. I barely have words to describe how impressive Clem's form is after a shaky group stage.
This is looking like Clem back in championship winning form, but do not count Solar out. His play was also amazing, and just a little bit more at the right moment would have gotten him the first win. As it is, we now spawn on top of the guy who did take victory for map number 1. Now onto hard lead in the bottom right as the red Terran for Team Liquid. He is Clem.
His opponent in the top left. He's a great dancing partner, but he's going to need to step it up. He's now in the Terran zone, and he needs to bring beyond his A game. He needs to step up and find a way to take down his opponent. Representing Vitality, it is Solar.
You're going for an extractor trick.
Nothing like the old 15-15 against Terran. Get the 2 Lings across the map potentially to try and delay the command center. Definitely get the Queens out early to defend the Reaper. Always not a bad way to open up, but it's always interesting to see because every player has their own twist on how to follow it up. Some are just like, hey, you watch a Dark play and he's like, I'm going to take a 3rd hatchery and we're going to take gas at 4.5 minutes for the first time. And you're like, okay, that's insanely greedy. Solar's a bit more conservative. He likes to have his Ling speed, but it just doesn't mesh with this build order if you're like rushing it. You can't really get, you can see it's already, you know, 10-15 seconds later than a normal gas, and I would be interested to see if he's going to open roaches because that's just so smooth off this opening.
A hard lead does seem to be a map for roaches. What comes to my mind is more of the 1-1 roach attack, but earlier one could be it. Also can be a map that is chosen by Clem a little more to low ground 2-racks, but hasn't been really the go-to for him as far as build orders go, and hasn't been so much on hard lead actually. So if that's what Solar was anticipating, that's not the case. It is a 1-racks expand. Also Clem going for an SCV scouts, which does take away your economy a little bit, but if he was worried about an early pull or any type of early aggression, whether it is light or very heavy, this SCV is now able to scout it, and then as a Terran player, yeah, absolutely, you could go ahead and say it's worth denying the hatchery too. Solar can take either one technically on this base, but then obviously he prefers one over the other. This Reaper is going to come in for the Lings, not for that 3rd drone, which you could absolutely kill at this point.
Yeah, Zerglings can't turn into an extractor. It's kind of this funny thing in the meta at the very top these days where players are so good at doing spore tricks and extractor tricks. The players almost always target the Zerglings over the drones. Whereas I think for normal players, the drone is of course the higher value target and players are more prone to make mistakes. So much better value going for it. The way Clem kind of moves that Reaper, you could see he does like the weird hold position before when he was looking to deny the creep tumor.
it's almost off-putting as a Zerg when you first see that, because you realize he's basically just waiting for the moment you put that creep tumor down, and if you do, he will dive on it and snipe it. Solar, he's wise to it, he doesn't take the risk, and only when the Reaper jumps up into his main does he start putting the creep out on the natural.
Yeah, there's actually a fear for that creep tumor. That's a very good control on Reapers can instill. It is once again 3cc from Clem, and the question is whether it's that Viking Liberator. I would say if it is going to be Liberator, it's literally just Liberator on this map, but we'll see. Or is it Banshees? And again, considering how more often Roaches can be played on hard lead, I feel like Banshees could be a safety pick. I think Clem does have that supreme confidence now that he's taken map number 1 in a very stereotypical fashion for him. So now playing a little bit safe with the SCV Scout, with the Banshee opener, that's pretty good. And it's not like it can't do a good damage harassment either. It's just kind of unlikely.
Hellion Reaper on the left, having a bit of a poke around. First Banshee has started up. Cloak will usually come in soon afterwards, as it does cost 100 gas. There we go, starting it. Very standard play for Clem. And I think he feels really confident here. You know, after game 1, you win their map. It just feels so good in these series, and suddenly takes away the fear of, oh, I have to finish them off, which feels like for years Clem was nearly unstoppable in the early mid-game, but the only thing that caught him out was that he felt like he had to win there, because once Lurkers came out, he'd often just get overwhelmed.
Yes, there's a lot of examples of him not necessarily being the best late game player. He did a lot of experimentation. Nice block there from Solar, not those Hellions tag the drone line. There was a lot of experimentation from Clem like a year and a half ago, I feel like, at this point, where, you know, there's also Maru really leading the way as far as that late Supreme, late TVZ. So he was doing it, he was playing with it, but obviously his mid game was still the really terrorizing force. Now at this point, especially when he's clearly on top of his game, as game 1 displayed, his early game can be very scary with all the little pokes and prods and potential Hellion run-bys. His mid game can be terrifying and actually kill you if you're not careful, and his late game is as obnoxious as Maru was, even though it's not quite the same turtle aspect.
Definitely in that vein as we get Solar's first-person view. You can see his control groups on the bottom of the screen. 3 separate Queen control groups. One of those is for injecting, and one is for defending the right, one is for defending the left. It's such a cool evolution of Zerg vs Terran we've seen since 2021. Raynor revolutionized it that year when he won the World Championship in Katowice, and every top Zerg pretty much uses this now. A triple Queen split gives you a lot of flexibility. If a Banshee's in the back, you only need to split 1/3 of your Queens to defend it. Case in point.
Yep, the Banshees do arrive. There is a Spore Crawler, but just nothing to scout on the, you know, on the go, basically. Queens do have Transfuse, yeah, just barely as well, but it still is going to go down. Important thing was they were also still body blocking against the Hellions. Lings are also prepared in case the Hellions try and dive. Not something that Clem is going to try and do. And oh, the miscontrol! Oh, losing both Banshees because the Overseer time was just that perfect. That is a mistake there from Clem.
Nice control. 漂亮，收了。
Those Queens were like moving forward, started stepping up between their shots. They wanted to make sure they could seal the deal, and losing your Banshees is terrible. I'll never forget a laser kind of breaking down Banshees and saying, you know, people are always asking, how many drones does a Banshee need to kill to be effective? Is it 10? Is it 15? Is it 5? And he said, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is keeping the Banshee alive so it can stop run-bys for the rest of the game and deny creep. If you keep the Banshee alive, it's like an Oracle. It gives you so much value over the course of the game. Losing it that early is a disaster for Clem, not to mention the fact that he has barely scraped Solar's income. Clem showed he could win late game. I thought that was a big confidence booster, and it definitely will be for the late game, but getting there is another story. Solar is once again destroying the early stages.
Yes, the loss of 2 Banshees is a little bit too much. Again, that one is kind of like, it sucks, obviously, but the one still alive can help defensively, can help with run-bys, can help a little bit still with the distraction, and now it's just nothing. But Clem seems to have already moved past it into the medevac drop phase with the same confidence we would expect. 4th CC on the way, about 7 minutes, so really the typical now, I think, for Clem. And we have his upgrade just a little bit faster, and the armory is done at a very appropriate time. Clem doesn't have the resources for 2-2.
Indeed, with the 4th command center on the way in the Widowmine's building, Clem here just looking to clear creep, bit of a skirmish. Solar keeps instantly replacing that creep. It's a lot of Lings, Banes, and Queens. Solar's having none of it. He has the numbers where he knows he can't. He's like, come on, mate. I've got plenty of units. He's got a 5th base up in the middle as
所以前期人族火车没有掉的话，真的是危险大。
To rush to hive. I have a feeling he may do a giant Lingbane Hydra swarming attack because he's just going to max out so very early.
Clem pick up on that. An aggressive maneuver with the maxed out army. Can catch him dropping to the left and to the right and not having his army consolidated. And we do have the exact thing I was talking about, left and right attacks. On the right side, we have those Hellbats. I think the army already being done. 2-2 also did
这波有点强哦，毒爆。
What am I going to burrow on the offensive? Solar has to be worried about that, as it is also
这看火车人要换，要换Solar的毒爆，这边，直接在，哇！
Yeah,
oh my god.
Still pretty nice for Clem as he does evacuate with the Marines. Also on the left side, jumping after those Queens. They don't quite have a lot of chance uses, but just enough to buy the time. Also great focus fire from Solar to once again almost get the second medevac, just not quite.
Solar has the money maxed out. He's way ahead in supply. I would love to see him go right now on the aggression, whether that's just a big Lingbane run.
Oh my god! 哇塞，这个操作
lets himself get pinned back in this period when he has a material advantage. That's going to buy Clem the time he needs to get to late game. So you can see Solar's stuck in the defensive stance.
可能状态很好啊。
Even if you get a good start, if you don't use it to really capitalize fast, Clem is going to sneak his way back into the late game.
There are some really awesome Baneling snipes going down, continuing the effectiveness of Clem's army trades. Widowmine does splash back on the Terran a little bit there, and Solar's going to pounce, get rid of that, nip it in the bud. It's going to go ahead and tuck itself into the corner and wait for another moment with this left side attack coming in. It will be very, very soon. Meanwhile, Clem having all the rest of his units back at home. 4th CC turning into a planetary 2-2 almost done as well, as Solar actually never started or +1 missile.
That is very unfortunate. Only +2 carapace. It is the more important upgrade, but it is definitely huge. As these upgrades stack up, 2-2 now coming in for Clem. Clem just keeping that pressure up on both sides. If it was any other Zerg, I'd be really worried about the way he's letting himself get pinned. I do feel he could have done something more with the supply and income money that he had. But Solar's so comfortable waiting for Hive Tech. That is his comfort state. So it's definitely not something where he's like, oh no, I've got no idea what I'm doing. No, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's waiting until he gets Viper's Hive, Adrenal Glands, Carapace, +3. Oh, and he can ambush some Widow Mines while he's doing it. That's a big bonus.
Oh my god.
Yeah, those were a lot of Widow Mines going down, but still a decent number in the army that ends up spreading into a nice concave off of Creep. But at the same time that happens, we also have a Baneling run by on the right side. Not able to stop drilling claws, but able to get a decent amount of SCVs. You would think it's distracting Clem as well, but no, apparently not. Clem goes down the right side with a drop, might be actually able to get this battery. Left side also going well for Clem, and Solar needs to get his army back on the defense.
Oh, I was wondering where Clem's army was. Well, it's all attacking right now. That's why. Oh my lord, a big misstep. Clem trying to micro 3 places at once. This command center almost going down to the Hydras. That's what drew his attention. He's attacking the right. Drops on the Spore Crawlers, loses that drop as well. Clem is getting a little bit scrappy and sloppy right now. He has done a lot of damage to Solar, but he's taken a lot of damage as well. As the dust settles, we have to look at this and say who's ahead, who's behind. Well, with the third being forced to lift, I definitely think that gives Solar a slight advantage, but I'm not sure if it's as big as it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, both of them getting some blows in there, right? Like Solar just chose to be very offensive, so there were some opportunities to a well-controlled Terran force still on his side of the map, and then Clem did have to look away at certain points, so they both got a little done there, right? Now Clem was actually not able to take down this growing base as the medevacs no longer got any units on the evacuation, but they have rejoined with the main army. So Solar is up onto 6 bases. Clem is going back up to not just 4, but actually a 5th. Is turning into a planetary right now. Once again starting his +3 attack, way ahead of his armor, but still ahead of Solar. Solar made the same mistake. Great anti-micro there on the Widow Mines, and he is going to be able to back away off of Creep.
可以真的猛啊，直接点毒爆。
This is a very tense game, and it's these tense games where, oh, the drop in the top does get picked up and saved. See that in the picture-in-picture. Attack in the front, never back it off. I feel like even when Clem's looking at his base to do something, he still just lets his units run forward because he trusts his speed well enough to get back there and pick them up if he gets in trouble.
Yeah, that's the insane thing, man. Parasitic Bomb does help take down some of the Medivacs as well as an Abduct. And actually, it's still in the Parasitic Bomb right there, so the third one did go down. That is a pretty brutal loss because it does mean this army has to completely evacuate. It actually already been simmed so many times. I think his Medivac count is maybe still good, but he does not have those late game armies. Yeah, still 7 is pretty good.
The big problem Clem's having right now is he swapped to a Marauder Marine Mine Army. This is
这样能猜得到。
Part of the reason is the Marauders slow down the Ling Bane and they all kind of get stuck on each other. To do that, you need concussive shells. This is a hectic game. He's completely forgotten concussive shells, and I don't think he's going to be. Actually, did it just kick in? Maybe it was there the whole time. We'll need to see the upgrade time. It is there. Okay, there just weren't that many Marauders there.
Yeah.
No worries. A missed call by me.
哇，这两船要掉。
Coming forward in the north. Those Marines are getting out of there. Clem's still just not letting enough units go down. Solar's looking for the big catch. He's not letting him get it. The fusion core transitions on the way behind this. Solar's going to be making a lurker transition.
哦，鬼兵转出来了哦。
Yeah, and
Ghost.
Again, I wonder about the timing of this as far as having the completed upgraded lurkers in a very good position before the ghost count gets high enough and the Terran gets comfortable enough to tackle that. We're still kind of at a question mark phase for that right now. Again, Clem's upgrades will be superior. +3 attack is down, +3 armor will still be ahead of Solar's Carapace. And yeah, Clem did make that Marauder slow mistake last game, but he has at least fixed that. I do also expect those late game upgrades, the building upgrades, the Caduceus Reactor, once things settle down a little bit, but now as Clem has backed away to his 5 bases, Solar gets a little time to breathe, maybe also gets his 7th up to the top right.
Yeah, it's all about getting the command center count up while continuing to trade. The more small trades, the more favored Clem feels it is, and that's due to his insane micro. But so far, Solar's been doing a great job of keeping that gap very close. He's got a bigger bank, he's got a good army, and he's looking to strike. Solar going to go into this base. Parasitic bombs landing on the Medivacs. Widow Mines unable to find the heart of the Banelings. The Marine Marauder getting the Banelings, but there are so many more behind that.
没有感染虫打不下。
So decent little trade for Solar, but he has to back off.
I do love the almost instant transition or addition, whichever one you call it, of the lurkers, because the ghost count still isn't amazing. We're producing 4 at a time, so it's very quickly going to get there. Lovely idea if you could do it instantaneously, but not actually the case. But there is a cheeky Nidus from potential, as the observer is showing us. Lib range is on the way. Liberators being added on, of course, too, is going to help Clem with the multitasking quite a bit. It's actually helping even here on the 3rd base, as Solar once again looks to dive in.
This is crazy right now. It feels like Solar needs to get damage done. He does take out a Lib and a few SCVs, but the orbital lifts and pulls back. There we go, Nidus in the back. That's where the damage might happen. Solar has a sense of urgency right now. He realizes he's got to do more. He's going for it. The lurkers in the back of the main base starting to cause some big damage. Infrastructure taking some damage. The ghosts are actually walking to the lurkers in the picture. In picture, 4 ghosts just got blasted.
Yes, exactly. Clem was once again trying to take this cool, calm, and collected like the last game. He was putting his ghost back in the main base, letting the rest of the army be controlled on the front lines, except this time he lost the ghost. So he was doing the right thing by being patient and kind of letting the damage that he had to take happen, but now it's the loss of the ghost, the loss of the production, continued chaos as he still has yet to clean up his main base.
Beautiful play by Solar. Look at this.
He's just at the
door, slowly breaking the hinges off. Clem did not want to let him in here, and just as Clem's getting to that mass command center, thinking about all those extra upgrades you were talking about, like building armor and things, he's just getting hit so hard, he doesn't have a chance to get there. He's only got 5 orbitals. He needs more than that to be playing at this stage of the game, because every scan he uses to see where the army is or to spot the lurkers, that's less income. So that normal Terran income advantage, it just does not exist here. Right now, Solar is keeping Clem in a dirty stage of the game that Terran does not like to hang in, and he's just keeping up that aggression. Hydroling Bane rolling forward, there is so much of it. It's a crazy attack for Solar.
应该是守下来，对。哇，这毒爆数量。守下来了。Oh my god！ 星星他是直接撞烂。
But nonetheless, 17 still going down, and again, not the additional orbitals and command centers that did put Clem in a comfortable position last game. But this is kind of like mirroring that last game as far as the tempo, right? Solar had a really great resource trade up until a certain point. He had the potential to overwhelm Clem before he got to those massive amount of command centers until a certain point, and Clem basically held on stubbornly, and then it really flipped. So now the question is, can Solar actually decapitate this guy, or is he gonna keep on living like the Headless Horseman?
Yeah, I definitely feel that hanging on to the cliff face right now. Solar is trying to step on his hands, and oh my
god, GG. Nice.
That is it. right, no nearly headless Nick this time around. That is one dead Terran thanks to that last second fungal. The 1-1 has been achieved by Solar. I do actually believe in a funny way that map choices and the way the games have played out actually favored the opposite as you expected. Solar not able to
真的猛啊
across the map in time to really take advantage of that moment.
可能操作已经很强了，前面打了3线吧。
So insistent on his aggression that not only was Clem having difficulty catching up, but medevac energy actually became a really legitimate problem.
This was a huge mistake for Clem. Those Widow Mines all getting caught. Even
这
though
边
he's
散
got
得
a
不
lot of
错。
banelings, he loses quite a lot of Marines, and I think it's the Widow Mines losing momentum there. And from there, even though he got some good counter damage, Solar was all over that third for the rest of this game. The third base of Terran never has a planetary on it, and he just kept making it lift over and over. This was such a good decisive finishing blow. A minute or two before this, before that Nidus got in the main, I was actually looking at it going, man, Solar, like, he's got to find a way in because he's almost out of time. And just on cue, he ran into the third, got a good little skirmish, popped a Nidus in the back, kept attacking the third, and already having the Infestors in here at the finishing, that's really
Game 3， 哇塞，这好看啊 ！Solar 对 Clan，
How am I going to win this series to destroying him on the Terran map?
第一场刚刚看到最后
A match made in heaven. I really do feel Solar may be the best Zerg in the world when it
第一
comes
场
to
蛮好
facing
看的
Clem，
那
right now.
看到刚才看的时候已经是
did show some vulnerability
后
in
期。
Atlanta, but then again, so did Solar. So, I mean, basically, Clem's gonna have to run through the
哇
gauntlet,
，Solar
proving that
强
he
啊
is good at
状态好像
every
恢
single
复。
stage of this matchup. But we have an even tied up series right now, guys, and we are going to go ahead and take a little break. So check out this video while we wait for Game 3.
The players are very used to facing off against each other in 1v1 in StarCraft, but let's test their general knowledge against one another. But don't land on the
James.
net, because that's -1 point.
Hey, I'm Clem, and I'm here today with Olivera,
Hello, Aaron.
and we're gonna be spinning that wheel, I believe.
Maybe I first.
You first? Okay,
yeah,
you
I go
start. You start. You know, taste to this?
Yeah, I know, but I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, let's do it. Oh, I got the same one. Who is? Is it the guy? Okay, I'm not sure about it. Is it the guy from Harson's video that got like gem with only cyclones? Is it this guy? Or am I mistaken? If it's not him, then I have no idea who it is. Oh, really? Okay, then I was completely wrong. Okay.
So we're same, right?
Yeah, we both lost.
okay.
We both lost. Okay.
No. What?
All right, my turn. Jim Raynor is the main guy.
Jim
That
Raynor
was an easy one. All right, you go.
So I will do.
Yeah. Oh.
Alpha Star.
Nice.
Easy.
哦哟 ，Alpha Star，
Oh.
Okay, I think it's difficult.
I was dreading that one. I believe it is in the US, United States. Nice. Okay, well, I believe I won 2-1.
Yeah.
That was spinning the wheel with Clem and Olivera.
Yeah, I'm happy to today, and I hope this time match can play a good match.
第3场啦
And we're
，Game 3。
back. Solar there, looking focused as ever. After that last match, we saw him kind of push himself up out of the chair. I always love seeing a player where you can tell they're so in the moment, they're kind of getting tense and focused, and then they kind of just release and have a bit of a stretch after that match. So it's such a hard-earned victory, and I do feel that if he didn't put the brakes on Clem there, it was going to be a runaway train.
I think so as well. It was really sizing up to be a very similar game, down to us pointing out how effective the resource trading was. So that's something we did in game 1, and then suddenly it went the opposite way and then kept on rolling the opposite way. But Solar was able to put those brakes on. And now we head to game number 3 with it all tied up.
Game 3.
Solaris in the top right for Team Liquid. He is Clem.
And in the bottom left, fighting back from behind. Now going onto the map that is his own namesake on Solaris in the bottom left for Vitality Esports. It is Solar. He has great memories of winning the GSL, finishing off that series on this map. And it is it's a pretty balanced map overall. There's a few nasty tank positions that can push into a few of the bases. But other than that, you've got speed zones that of course make Ling Bane much scarier to engage around these pillars, those green areas. Unfortunately, no Protoss on this map, so we don't get to see the comical disruptor shots flying a screen across those. That is one of my favorite interactions. But it's mostly just you don't really want to fight near those with Marines when the Banelings can just get to you a bit quickly.
Yeah, I have seen some comical play around Reapers running away from Lings. Like they go zoom, and then the Lings go zoom. But I'm not sure we're going to see that here, as once again Clem goes for the 1 Rax expand, so at most basically 1 Reaper. As far as these two and their history of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, we have talked about it before. For Clem, he has for some reason just really had not the best luck coming into 2020. He was, you know, really hot topic, and people thought he could do well. Really didn't. And then subsequent Katowice is also not really doing as well as he expected at all, sometimes narrowly missing out, like last year. This time, he's in the round of 12, you know, for the first time ever. And so that is big news for him, even though he's been in this in other tournaments. This is very, very prestigious. Meanwhile, Solar is on the opposite side. He almost always does well at Katowice. He just doesn't win it. So he's actually pretty much second in consistency at this tournament, only to 1 other guy. It is another Korean Zerg, and it is Dark, who is still in the tournament.
I feel like Solar's results, they're not as deep as you'd expect with how well he plays.
Yeah.
And in the last few years, Maru is the reason. Basically, it's almost always a teammate. Yeah. So much like it's always quarterfinals or the semis or the round of 16. They run into each other, and Maru has an insane win rate versus Solar. Even though they're really good matches, it just feels like that obstacle he has mentally with not being able to really beat Maru in the head-to-head very often has held Solar back. But as long as he doesn't face Maru, I think Solar is almost always like a very heavy favorite to make it all the way.
The only other person who gives him trouble at this tournament is, in fact, Dark. If it wasn't for that guy, Solar would be like the farthest advancing consistently player in the tournament. Now he doesn't really have to worry about that. If he does defeat Clem, he's facing Cyril next. And actually, people look at Solar as a very promising competitor to Cyril in ZVZ. A little bit of micro back and forth. You see Clem with an effective first Reaper.
Yeah, you know, you often think it's fine. There's 2 Queens and 4 Zerglings. We're guarding our little child here, the Creep Tumor. But I tell you, I mean, he's more fierce than a dingo that's been hungry for a few days. That Reaper of Clem gets in there, just destroys the Creep Tumor, even when it's fully guarded. He's so frustrating to play against.
He actually taught at least 1 Polish person what a dingo was.
Yeah.
Last night, yeah. Playing some heads up. Good time.
Fantastic red doggo from Australia.
They're actually super cute, but definitely don't pet them. I might have been tempted at a wilderness zoo, you know.
Hey, Americans getting their fingers bitten off by wildlife is one of our favorite things.
We are the reasons that there are signs up saying, don't reach over the fence. Yep, that's us.
Look, it's a cute emu. It's a 2-meter tall dinosaur. Let's just give it a pat.
Actually, they did allow us to pet that.
Oh.
A little wilderness zoo.
Must have been a nice, friendly one.
Well, Fear Dragon refused, because it is literally a dinosaur.
They're so scary.
Yes, they are. But anyway, meanwhile in this game, another Hellion Banshee opener from Clem. Solar adding on that speed, finishing at 410. Actually, almost perfectly timed with the Hellion Reaper run by with just enough Lings to interfere with the Hellion shots. So this actually could have been much worse if these were still slow Lings.
I was looking for the late Ling speed. Yeah. Clem, this is a bit of a late run by. I mean, he was really hoping that Solar was sleeping on his defense, and an ill-timed Hellion run by gets shut down. Fantastic defense for Solar. Of course, Clem's still microing the Hellion because he's Clem, and APM costs him nothing. He has it flowing out of his reserves, endless attention and ability to multitask.
I remember there was a period of time where I think, you know, Tasis and Artosis were kind of just, and I don't think they were wrong necessarily, but they were like, there's a certain amount of time that you don't give to a drop once you realize that it's being taken down. Especially because that was a Muta-heavy meta back in the day. But if it's Clem, he's like, no, down to the last Marine. I don't care if the medevac said I'll 7 other Marines. It's gonna try and damage one of these mutas.
Like, yeah, Clem and Beyond, I feel like kindred.
可能还是用有限的滑
Two
鼠。
guys will have 1 Marine left in a dropship, and they'll actually kill 6 more SCVs. But more importantly, they will tilt their opponent because they'll be like, no, you were meant to stop looking at this. Stop being so annoying to play against. Hellions are still alive. It was 2 Hellions and a Reaper. It's not like he threw away 4 or 6 Hellions, so he's still got a bit of, creep denial ability here. But Solar, I love his choice to go for the Baneling Nest rather than the double Evo Chamber. That's going to allow him to get a quick Baneling speed. He will get the double upgrades, probably closer to the 6.5 minute mark rather than the 5.5 minute mark.
Solar pretty supply blocked, actually. 90 out of 90, and he's 2 of Alert is still over halfway done. So, I mean, I just kind of pointing out the Hellion harassment's being annoying. And it almost got that drone. Almost. Fortunately, hatcheries are very sturdy. Last game did start off rather poorly for Clem, if we recall, even though it seemed like he was bringing it back.
Oh, 有包子的，有争议的。
Both Banshees dying, which is just a little too much, especially because they really didn't do anything besides die.
He's got 1 drone and 1 transfuse, so no real damage to be spoken of, but he keeps them alive, which is much more important. We've seen that Clem doesn't necessarily need to race to the finish line. He's a player who thrives on momentum, so it's not like it's really in his nature to just sit back, but he definitely doesn't need to feel an overwhelming pressure to put Solar behind in the game, as he himself has had a few. I would say Solar beat him in the early game, 2 games in a row so far, but the score is nonetheless 1-1.
Both Banshees still alive.
Wow.
Yep, there's one finally going down. But seriously, having at least 1 really is a massive difference. Having that still at the 3rd base to help out against Baneling run-bys, but also Lings. And then also as spotters, it's just an excellent addition.
I
mean, still probably unhappy at the loss, but now we got ourselves a little tank push coming along. Not just the 2 medevacs with Marines that really isn't looking to anchor itself. This with a tank wants to actually get up to one of these ridges, be really annoying, and now in Solaris, it's absolutely this one we're seeing here from the Observer. Yep, this is very annoying. Actually kind of a conservative place, but also outside of creep.
Yeah, this is a very common move on this map. We've seen Maru use this a lot recently. Solar is ready for it with those Ling Bane on the top right. He's going to come through the speed zone to flank this. Clem, got to be careful. Do not let those Marines get taken out. The tank, single tank dying is not the end of the world. Hellions in the back trying to guard it. Marines quickly pick up. Hellions trying to kite away on the right side, but they're going to get surrounded.
Yes, they are. And finally, they are let go because we have to focus on more important matters. So the medevac drops in the main base.
Oh my God.
Down, Spore Crawler goes down, but so does 1 medevac.
This is beautiful. That double Spore so early. Solar not letting Clem get momentum. And 8 Marines. There's only space for them. The rest do get left behind. Love to see the units lost up after all that interaction, as I do feel it was pretty close, which is, yeah, that's great for Solar. Only being behind a couple hundred resources is great. On the other hand, the work account for Clem is very nice. 71 versus 73. His 4th command center is finished. He is heading towards the later stages of the game very quickly. He's got Widow Mines and Marines.
4况8分钟哦，
What I
很
felt
快。
afraid with in that last game before Solar cracked him open was the way it felt like he was just stuck playing Clem's game for such an extended period, just defending here, defending there. It feels like breaking out of that is something you'd want to have more urgency for, but I know Solar as a player, he's just going to keep doing this, just absorb punch after punch.
这果然埋
And
的
he'll wait for the 1 moment, and it'll be much later than we think it would be. But once he sees that opening, he'll take it.
Yeah, we have Clem trying to be aggressive on the top side, but the Widow Mines aren't really getting the best shots.
哇，没得炸。
Any, and only 2 medevacs. Oh, 3 actually. Sorry about that, but they would have to pick up all of them.
He has to get out of this 3rd right now.
Yeah, he has to completely evacuate and then unload potentially in the midst of a battle. Wouldn't have been ideal, but the Banshee being alive, a very well-placed tank, and some great SimCity really helped there.
Yeah, the Banshee and the tank scared him off. Otherwise, I think an opportunistic dive would have been well in order. And in those scenarios, you have to get the SCVs out quick, fast. But Clem, even though he's being held back, he's got a 5th CC on the way, 3 more barracks. He has forgotten that +2 armor for a while, though. I thought he would have checked on it and remembered that by now.
Yeah, I have to apologize. I literally told him in Atlanta as he sat down to talk to me prior to his first series versus Solar. He
这
was
防
like,
守忘是点了。
you know, like, do you have any advice or something like that? Actually, I don't know if he asked me because that would be absurd. But I was like, I'm going to give you advice. Here it is. Don't forget +2 armor because Beyond does it all the time. And I feel like since then, he's forgotten his +2 armor every single time. Sorry about that. But seriously, it's a continued problem in this series. And absolutely, it's affecting some of the power spikes that a Terran would usually have. And it looks like this time, once again, Marines are going to be pushed away. And of course, they're going to try
这有
into the
包子
main
塔啦
base. I think there is only 1 Spore Crawler still since losing the second very much earlier on. But yeah, the turbo is already done, so maybe wait a while.
Indeed, he's in a position where he can strike 3 different locations, but he's got to be careful of the Hydras that are now out. Clem forced back into the dead space. A bio-mine army on the north is going to divert a lot of Solar's resources up here. Solar has to stay calm, split his army very well. Solar's got a bit of that bank building. He's been very good at defusing the Widow Mines for the most part this game. You know, tanking single ones on Overseers that don't die from that, splitting off Lings and Banes, and really just pushing Clem far out of his territory.
This is what happens. You push Clem back on one side. You know you're going to force him to dive in the other side. And there he is, a lot of Marines, but they're not being very active right now. The Lings on their own cannot defend it. He needs the slower Banelings and Hydras to get up here. Clem's just gonna. Ooh, he takes it away!
Oh my god!
Down all the Banelings. Uh-oh! Oh no, this is a disaster for Solar. He's got the Hydras trying to focus down the medevacs. The Ling's coming in. This is going to be a big trade. Oh, 3 medevacs actually getting out with 11 Marines. Not a bad fight at all for Clem. He's got Ghosts on the way, 2 command centers.
Amazing.
He's racing to late game. It feels like we're in a similar match again. This is the sort of stressful, tiring, back and forth macro Zerg versus Terran that is going to really put these players to their limits.
Yeah, this has absolutely been tested by both of them. This map
后面转盾力兽
great extended TVZs. Clem slows the drop on the bottom side, but that one very weak medevac almost gets targeted down. Not quite. Speaking of, 2 medevacs on the top side almost get taken down. Not quite. Actually, many medevacs injured up there. Clem on 5 bases, adding on the command centers, as you said, finally completing the 2-2. But, you know, in the previous game, he was actually pretty good about the +3 attack. He's basically forgotten it in this one, although now he might be able to start both at the same time. That means he actually falls behind.
攻防的话，双方像目前的话，人族3攻3防真的挺深。
So much infrastructure on the way for Clem, but that purple gas base does stick out. It's such a big target. Zerg always wants to get rid of that if they can.
双方攻防2攻2防没问题。
From almost dead even at the start of this game to much
鬼兵，鬼兵。
We'll see if that continues as time goes on. Oh,
哇
that'll help.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And Clem is now microing both sides of the army with Ghosts. So every time we see a little bit of this, you know, really tug of war, the Ghost snipes are looking for the shots. Clem a little late to the pickup, but does save a lot of the expensive units. Once again, forced to retreat back into the defensive setup while unloading. But a planetary once again helping out tremendously there. So not feeling comfortable actually pushing forward from that point. Not quite comfortable overall, perhaps, although his bank now is growing to that comfort point. I wouldn't be surprised if next time Clem is forced to evacuate like that. Solar does go for the attack, and now we have the top left under fire. That hatchery might just be a goner. But that's not the worst thing for Solar to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it's good value for Clem. It's nice value, but it's not like you're doing a crippling blow. This is just shaving away at your opponent, which, to be fair, is most of Clem's game plan. Small skirmish, take a good trade. Small skirmish, take a good trade. Drop here, drop there, drop everywhere.
Drop
oh gosh, the Viper. Ducks. Ooh, I think if Ducks would have been a better choice there. Solar
还行，3船有兵的没有爆。
Yeah, and generally, I am going to be keeping track of the legitimate medevac kills. Like a lot of near misses for them, which again did influence a little bit of that last game. Let's say medevac energy was the entirety of it. Absolutely not, but it does impact things. Attack on the planetary on the Rich Vespian Geyser.
这个要塞可能会掉哦。
The Banelings have to scare them away.
Oh,
that, it looks like the planetary goes down, but again, the question, how many Hydras are able to escape? Well, actually, all of them but 2.
5,000 resource lost advantage, a good 50% better on the trading. Fantastically done there by Clem. But of course, Solar still has more bank. Zerg naturally builds less infrastructure.
哇，这场不太好打，哇塞，收啦！
There are cases with guys like Cyril that sometimes turn that upside down, but it costs a lot more to get there. And there's so much time in this early late game for Zerg to just swarm over and deny bases over and over, and that's exactly what Solar's looking to do. He doesn't want to let those building armor upgrades, he doesn't want to let 10 command centers get built. The Widow Mines on that front line looking to fire, they just are not firing, they keep changing targets.
Yeah, that wasn't it, so it's potentially juicy.
取消
anything at all, now forced to completely evacuate from that position, also not canceling another command center, but now using the ones that are finished to try and get that filter through. Solar can only go so far from this point, but what he has done is killed 2 command centers, 16 SCVs.
哇，炸掉！
Third command center. Hello, Cracklings. Clem not quick enough to the pickup.
This is a huge problem now. This is getting out of control. The Nidus Worm's coming in. He's already been traumatized by those Nidus Worms in game 1 and 2. Blinding Cloud on the ramp there as well. The Bio running down into an Arca Hydras. I don't even know if there was enough Terran to take the fight, but definitely Solar says, I'm not going to gamble. I'm just going to pull back from there, wait for more Banelings. There's no reason to fight. His Lings are doing so much damage. Clem, he's letting the Chaos get to him a little bit here. This style, this Bio Ghost style, it's all about maintaining control in hectic situations. You cannot let yourself get frazzled, but it seems like
哇，这矿也可能会掉哦。
the washing machine. He's putting him in a blender right now. You can tell Clem's getting shaken up because the pressure is just so great.
Yeah, he's making big mistakes. Like once again, not canceling and then lifting.
哇，这说到状态真的太好。
Draws the line on the sand somewhere with some siege units and says, okay, we're just gonna really slow things down. It is possible to recover, but Solar really is gaining strides in a way that he wasn't even.
那双方目前还是接近满200人口。
This time around, Clem continues making mistakes. Kind of caught off guard a little bit here, but does react in time. At that third base, though, how many SCVs are going to go down?
哇，这个川狗
This run by is brilliant. Another 15 to 20 workers going down. He's going to attack down here at the same time. Hydras will bust through the Liberators. The Bio goes turning, but there's no planetary to fall back on. Those SCVs are getting blasted.
God.
Devastating damage. Solar finding his way into the heart of the Terran economy. It's not done yet. Even more going down.
Yeah, that is all the SCVs, basically. That is why Clem's supply is especially in the dumps. He is down to 27 SCVs. Now, he has still a decent amount of command centers, but putting all of your resources into rebuilding SCVs, that's quite a bit. So that's going to take way too long. Clem absolutely in a disaster.
Solar 太强啦
Really has to hope for a miracle here. Has to hope that Solar puts his foot elsewhere, you know, not on the gas, or that he is so busy putting his foot on the gas that he starts to make huge mistakes against Widow Mines and Liberators. And I just don't see that happening. Solar's late game was almost pristine. Clem's is a little bit more in the first game, but now Solar has everything going for him. So why would he mess up now?
I feel like that ledge just to the north of the purple gas base has been such a problem. It's really split up his ability to deal with it. Finally, some counter pressure gets in there with the Widow Mines and drones. That's what's been missing this whole time. Is Clem has had nothing putting Solar on the defensive. It's all been Solar on the aggression. Nice EMP does hit the Vipers. The Bio trying to push forwards, but Clem is down 35 army supply. He's down 40 workers. Solar has plenty of resources left to mine on his side of the map, and now he's added the Fungal Boys.
哇，经济跟不上，经济人口73比38。
in multiple scans at that, one to the left, one to the right, one behind you, you know, it gets really scary now. And not really any missile turrets. There's not really any minerals. There's also not time to put down missile turrets to stop some of the burrow shenanigans or the burrow infestors. Clem is in a lot of trouble. He has to play impeccably from here on out to take no unnecessary losses. Again, it looks very unlikely. Good fungal on the backside. It does get EMP'd after that and does die, but that infestor was very much worth it. Now that is a ramp, that is a choke, that is a Terran army that is not going to flee, but Solar is the one that is mining so much more than and unless okay, Clem does pull back. Clem does pull back, but those are obviously still 2 shark festers that are really looking for a pop-off fungal.
Yeah, I mean, remember that's how we got him out of the last game. Solar massively ahead. He's looking for it.
Oh my god, fungal!
There we go! Massive fungal from beneath him. And that does take down a bunch of those ghosts. Some of the Marines do get out. They take down the Infestor on the way back, but Clem knows he's out of time.
Yeah, Solar just looks so freaking good, man. It really seemed like equilibrium ended up being a problem because of maybe the distance of the reinforcements. Perhaps there was a little more choking in around that third base, a couple of pillars that were very annoying, and perhaps just more of a split map, left and right. These other 2 maps have really had a lot more like vertical problems as well as left and right problems, and Solar's aggression that didn't quite work out in game 1 has worked out beautifully for game 2 and 3. And I think he actually has been adding in faster Sharkfesters too, which I really enjoy.
I think what you're trying to tell me is that basically Clem shouldn't have vetoed Radus at station.
Yeah, apparently not.
Should have just played all the Zerg maps. No, this is of course Solar's pick, and I really do feel that even though Clem did really well, the purple base, there's that cliff above it, and it felt like because Solar had such good creep in the middle, Clem kept struggling to defend here and get to like the north of the base, and he was kind of getting caught rotating north and south. And then every time, whenever Clem got defended on the south, Lings would hit the third base in the north. That was always only defended by a Liberator. Obviously, this was the finishing below there. The Banelings finding their way in. And Festa was really just there for good measure. It was already pretty much done at that point.
Yeah, it really was. We also, I think a lot of the time, see most Terrans, and sometimes Clem, sometimes not, as seen here, most of them would have at least 1 or 2 tanks, and then that ledge behind the Rich Vespian Geyser base is really obnoxious. It doesn't hold all forms of Zerg attacks, but it is always there, and that just didn't occur there either, because the tanks that he did build were traded out earlier on, didn't want to add any more as he headed into what was supposed to be still a very back and forth.
这就是 Solar 全状态啊。
But once again, Solar's aggression is just too freaking consistent. Once he opens up a little bit of a problem for Clem, a few more small problems, and then a big problem, which is actually usually how you would describe a Terran winning. First it's the drops, the Hellions maybe first, then the drops, then another drop, then another drop, and then boom, suddenly the 2-2 attack, you know? But Solar's the one doing it and actually getting the completion as well, getting that GG from Clem, and now being 1 map away from moving on to the round of 8.
Solar's already in the lobby, eagerly saying, go, ready, 1A, 2A, 3A. And of course, the admins there just saying, hold on a sec, he's just Clem's in the replay. He'll be in a moment. We'll be starting that next game. But that's what you need is a moment to check what the heck went on there. And of course, Solar is like, I'm on a roll. Let's keep going. Let's play the next game now. I'm up 2-1. I only need 1 more. But the next map will be Site Delta. A map that we rarely see in this matchup, actually. I feel like we don't see that much Zerg vs Terran here, but now that we get to the big best-of-5 series, we're going to start seeing it more and more.
Let's see if Clem can bring it back to a 2-2. Both players still playing amazing TVZ, but this man in the bottom right has fallen to his last life. Give him your energy, guys. Get those cheers going for the bottom right Terran, Team Liquid's Clem.
Click go.
Some beautiful art.
这场应该是打5战3胜。
Supporting the players, but this man is going to be in such a good position. His mentality is looking great. He looked really composed in his seat. Let's see if he can finish off this series on Site Delta. In the top left side, the best defensive macro Zerg in the world. It is Solar.
Solar.
I should say specifically Zerg vs Terran. I give him that title, and I feel like Serral and stuff maybe a bit better at just purely defending than Solar. He's a very attacking Zerg when he's not playing against Terran. Against Zerg and Protoss, it's in-your-face timing attacks that are some of the sharpest in the game, but purely defensive all the way until the late game in this matchup. He's so solid, and the fact that he's going toe-to-toe with these, what do we call it, a tug-of-war with Clem? It's basically a non-stop mechanical battle for a good 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's very impressive that he's weathering that storm, and I wonder if endurance starts to come in for either of these players, if one of them starts to get worn down after all of these long games.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Something that it felt like a lot of the Korean players, as they are generally older on average, we're talking about at some of the interviews at Gamers 8 actually, especially Dark, but the other ones also started to mention it. And, you know, at times they would compare themselves to specifically Clem, maybe Raynor, maybe even Serral, and saying they're just so freaking fast. I'm not sure I can, you know, always keep up, so I start to rely on my brain, my strategies more often. And that works too, but Solar really looking like he can match the speed, multitasking, and precision of his opponent in this series. Now, Clem really mixing things up. Was this his plan for Site Delta from the get-go? Very possibly. Again, he does throw out the 2 racks occasionally. Or is he now trying to change things up, really get something more started in the early game? Or, more importantly, adding some confusion to the early game. When you see a 1 racks expand from Clem, it's almost always 3cc basically, but the 2 racks, I mean, generally it's going to be 3cc honestly from Clem, but it's still more obscured. You don't know if it's 3, 4 racks. He's taking some inspiration from Bjorn. Bjorn's whispering in his ear, 4x, 4x, 4x. You don't know. So that might be something that Clem's looking to take advantage of.
Definitely interesting to see what he can get done here so far. Fantastic micro on the Zerglings. The Queen pops out, deflects the Reaper. Now, Solar's been big on spreading creep between his bases usually to defend this, but with such a fast link speed, I don't know if he needs to. We'll, of course, keep our eyes on how he deflects this. The drone has hidden up north, so he's ready to take a third base when he feels it's safe to do so. Such quick link speed, I feel like it's not a particularly difficult defense of these Reapers.
Oh, I was going to say, especially when it goes down, fortunately for Clem. The Queens were not quite in position, slow off that creep. It is in fact a third CC, and that factory alone at the natural was already hinting, you know, more than hinting, was telling Solar that it was going to be multiple racks. And generally, again, with this opener, as the Overlord of Solar can see it, we'll say, oh, okay, it's third CC. A little bit of a more aggression very, very earlier on, but then into the Hellions.
先退，要先退，果了好，狗说好。
Clem has been kind of the poster child for me of doing that Cyclone edition and then not having it work at all. So yeah, it's Hellions. The Reaper's trying to escape, and maybe one or two might survive. Oh, the Jukes, the Jukes.
Nice.
The Jukes.
Oh. Nicely done.
Wow.
Reaper's picking off a few Zerglings, all escaping with their lives.
Amazing.
Clem looking rather nice so far. Stim and Hellion production on the way, as you pointed out. The Starport beginning behind that. Solar has been purely mineral focused. You know, I was thinking it's about we're about you know, I was actually worried about the low ground barracks because I was like, hey, it's Solar, give him any excuse to all in. He usually does one in the best of 5.
Yeah.
It's other than that, he's very predictable, but he'll mix in that one, you know, that one all in just to keep his opponents guessing, as any high level player has to do. He's not doing it here. He feels very confident playing stock.
Sora 之前从台湾那时候打赢维新杯的时候，那时候我就看现场去看他，跟另外一个人组是谁忘记了。那Sora 就超强。
Now the Hellions have joined up with the Reapers, and because the Reapers survived, they do add a little more complexity
但星海真的是
on the Hellion squad.
上得了台面就是那几个而已，太强。火车死神，后面要接枪兵，搭配医疗艇，战斗要记 timing， 所以大概是5分钟左右吧。
Not the greediest build.
5分半左右。
Third CC was a little bit later after the 2 racks, and the engineering bay is also a little bit later. But Solar has once again.
但3矿有点难推哦。
Indeed, he's looking for the bailing speed for the safety. A great choice here, keeping himself away from Clem getting any early momentum advantages, or at least most likely to be able to. A couple gases down as well. 3 or 4 gases will allow you to get double upgrades and bailing speed at around a similar time. Engineering bay is now finishing for Clem. His marine production still non-stop. We do expect those medevacs to be moving out.
Well, they first got to take care of this Overlord, which has been spotting pretty much everything. That will go down, and actually will supply block Solar. Kind of, a little bit, you know. One more is already on the way. Bailing speed does begin, as a couple of Bailings are also forming. We do have a scan into the natural until, I guess there was a gap from the Reapers pulling back and the Hellions reappearing and the drops reappearing. Clem wanted to make sure nothing particular was happening, or the double evolution chamber versus the faster Bailing nest. He actually did spot that. Now double medevac into the main. Spores are not ready to go quite yet, and while not even being produced, nothing in fact up here except that one queen right now.
Ooh, good pullback below. Doesn't lose even one drone just yet. The Zerglings, well, Banelings are a little behind, but Clem does have to pick up. Good defense for Solar. For Clem as well, he's getting some value. Oh, he's continuing in.
Wow, that's actually a really bold move, because usually you'd expect the Ling Baneling to be able to respond very quickly, but the reason he's doing it is because he went back in with the medevacs to the main base.
Yep,
so Solar, he's actually not being able to handle
the
natural. The Hellions end up doing far more damage.
Yeah, the Queens were blocking them, which is why they couldn't get out. I think he would have turned around and left, but they were blocking the ramp, so he hung around, he got a few more drones, a lot of lost mining time for Solar. But Clem does give up his Hellions, so I think it kind of ends up settling and not being a crazy advantage for either side.
Yeah, I say far more damage as if it's 10, 15, 20 drones. I mean, it was 4 compared to none.
Yeah.
So, you know, actually ended up being a good defense. I'm just surprised that Clem was as aggressive. Catching the drones on the rally, yeah, okay, that happens. But then actually even leading into the natural was a bold move that didn't really pay off. Could have been Hellbats now included with the armory on the way. Actually a little bit late, so 2-2 won't start up as fast as it should. Nice, wouldn't mind to take down any Baneling roll-bys.
Nice defense.
For Clem, as he has now added on his extra barracks. No 4th command center quite yet. So we're going to finish up as his army now moves to the south.
That 4th command center that wasn't there does start up just after you said it, as if you summoned it into existence, Zombie Grub. and it looks like there will be a progression, but right now, Army's ahead for Clem. He's got a good push. Solar's kind of in this position where he's just built 10 to 15 drones in the last minute, and he doesn't have that big of an army just yet. Widow Mine there, he's got to watch out for that. Does detonate the Baneling on it. Doesn't let that Widow Mine fire. A good choice for Solar, but his numbers are low. Does need to shut this down and get a bit of room, but oh my,
the Queens are on their own. They need support to defend this, but all of his forces are in the south.
Yeah, the Widowmine's gonna pop off and help as well. They're already out of transfuses.
Nice.
Now responding, going to be able to take care of this, but oh no, there might have been a technical problem, guys, or
what?
Yeah, a technical problem. It must be, absolutely must be. Solar finally getting that pause.
His
keyboard might have stopped working, honestly, at some point.
Yep, something went on there. We don't know what that is. A stuck key, perhaps. I don't know what was going on, but definitely seeing that reaction. That is not just, oh, I made a micro mistake. That is something is not working the way it should be. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what the resolution is there with the referees and everything. But sometimes you get little bits of lag, spikes, little glitches in game. Things can happen, so no doubt that'll get sorted out momentarily. What a tense moment in the series for this to happen. It's a real test for the players to not get too frustrated and keep their kind of focus going, remember exactly where they were in the heat of the game in case we do just resume from a few seconds earlier, and most importantly just kind of not let it disrupt your mindset, which is a very hard thing to do.
A big skills fan here. Yeah, that is a really important thing. I'm kind of nervous laughing because obviously this is an extended problem, so if it was a a pop-up, something happened there and you're just like, oh, that was the exact wrong moment, that fixed, right? And now they decide more so whether they should resume here or not. But
you want to schedule your Windows update? It's time to update.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, God, exactly not now.
Yes.
Why?
But yeah, they will have to, hopefully fix whatever it is if it's not already fixed, but then actually probably have to start a recover from replay because it obviously happened at a very critical moment. Solar's probably explaining that right now.
Yeah. Absolutely, usually something that's pretty easy to track. And I gotta say, by the way, sometimes when you have these situations, there are famous moments in different games over the years where players have had huge arguments over this, where the other player says, no way, like that, there's no proof that they didn't do this, and from this point, there's a lot of contesting and a lot of fighting and jockeying for advantage. I can guarantee you when Clem is the opponent, he will be overly gracious. Even if there's no evidence and the person's doing the dodgy, he's such a nice guy. I'm almost convinced he would just be like, oh, no worries, we can go back a full minute and resume from there. Yeah. That's fine. He's ridiculously sportsmanlike. And for him, I don't think he ever wants to take an advantage for free or anything like that. He always just, is there for the love of the game.
Yeah, he's definitely given like a server priority away, in some of the qualifiers. He's personally messaged commentators after accidentally leading them out of lobbies.
Yeah.
Like, he's extremely nice. So, but I do think that basically all the competitors here would do something similar. And, it is just about making sure that you get as fair as possible, right? So, I'm actually even wondering what happens, because he also probably wants to determine exactly where they are going to start. And so, we'll see if he has anything to add, but I do really doubt it. The recovery from replay is happening, by the way, guys. It was just too pivotal a moment, and it also seemed like it lasted a long time. That you can't just let that go. So, not sure exactly when we are going to be getting into it, but of course, if you don't know what happens, if the last time you watched StarCraft 2 was 2012 and they were shouting, we want land, we will be able to get back into the game and no one can see what was going on up to that point. Obviously, we need a little bit of time, guys, so hold on while we take a little bit of time to fix everything. When we come back, it is the continuation of Game 4.
we are back straight into the action. The Marine drop down there in the south. We've resumed from the replay just a few seconds before the pause, which means the Widow Mine still went off. Everything that you saw happen basically ended up happening. The glitch was fixed on Solar's computer, and we're straight back into the heart of the action. How the players handle this extreme jolt in the action, it's going to be a very big test for both players.
Yeah, absolutely. But honestly, it's a bigger test for Solar. Like, he's the one that just had some mistakes happen in a row, and is actually now dealing with the Clem, who's obviously still on point about his multitasking. Main base once again a bit of a problem as Solar takes losses on Hydras that are not easy to replace. He is trying his best right now, but also having to make sure that he defends an attack on the left side. Clem is going to be pushed back temporarily. He has once again forgotten his +2 armor. That might not get fixed anytime soon, but he has the control over the game, the supply over the game that he really hasn't been able to have in any of the first three.
A bizarre moment to choose to resume the game, honestly. Zombie Grub, in that a lot of mistakes happened that were very weird for Solar, and then they still, you know, he still resumed after that, and he agreed to do that. So I don't know what the glitch was. Hopefully we'll get info on the desk for them to break that down after this game. We'll see what happens. The Hydraling Bane here in the south, the Marines down there dancing back and forth. Clem has massive momentum. Solar has not been this far behind in the mid-game so far in this series. For him to hold on here, it's going to be a true test.
Yeah, the Banelings are stuck behind the Hydras. Whenever they're unstuck, they're rolling in a single file line, exactly where Clem can do that focus fire. It's not even his entire army, though. We have another army to the top side, once again tackling those queens that are barely alive from the earlier attack. Widow Mines planting everywhere, being micro. The Lings trying their best to clear this out. A couple of Banelings left over might just do the trick. Yes, one does get the last connection, but Clem's supply still at that steady 20 above his opponent, while he grabs a fourth, while he grabs a fifth actually on location. He's recognized how in control he is in this game. Very different from the first three at this point, seeing a command center building on location. It's almost sneaky, but there's nothing that Solar can do about it. He's under so much pressure.
Indeed, this is Clem in the driver's seat. 2-1 and the units lost. When Clem's ahead, it gets better and better because suddenly his Widow Mines start landing bigger because the Zerg doesn't have the swarming numbers to really force the Terran to just run. And then the Widow Mines start getting big hits because the Zerg has to clump up more. As they clump up more, the Widow Mines get big hits. If you don't clump up, the Marines are going to gun you down. There's a drop in the north, dancing around the back of the base. These units in the south dancing in and out, and Clem is permanently maxed on 5 bases behind this.
If Solar managed to bring this back, it will be a titan of a comeback or potential throw for Clem. Which one will it be? Will it be either one, or does Clem actually have it here to bring us to a game number 5? He is trying to get the kill on Solar, but Solar refuses to let this go. He doesn't have a lot of creep spread to work with. His Baneling count really isn't very satisfying, and the Lurker edition is going to feel much less strong compared to the last games. These are almost desperation Lurkers. They're hoping that it puts the brakes on Clem.
That is, there's no Banelings left. There's so few. There are only like 2 or 3 stuck in the back. Hydras are fragile, expensive units. Zombie Grub, and they're taking a lot of damage. A few Lurkers are here, as you said. Emergency, desperation Lurkers. They'll hold off the advance here momentarily. But of course, Clem will keep going. His 3-3 starts behind this. He clears all the creep in the center of the map, and he's got a new army coming forwards.
That 3-3 starts as if he was 100% determined not to let himself miss any of these upgrades. That was completely on time. But like I was saying, the Lurkers are almost desperation at this point. There is something that he wanted to go into, as we've seen in the previous games. He was clearly going to it in this game, but the scenario is drastically different. They're now being used to defend bases, so he has a little less multitasking to do, but it's kind of deceiving because honestly, 3-4 Lurkers are not enough to defend a base against a Clem that is really good at controlling, that might even eventually have Ghost on the front line as well. Now, we're not there yet, and so Solar is getting maybe a moment to breathe, but he's still in a very desperate scenario as he is on the back foot heading into the late game against the Terran.
Clem, he needs to keep up the pressure though. He's had such a big advantage. You don't want to just let Solar hang on and start building up a bank and all that. Solar shutting down the drop in the north. He's stabilized really well considering the position he's been in. He's almost maxed out. His +3 carapace getting very close, but these Marauders on the front line, they add extreme efficiency to this army. They ignore the Banelings, they slow down the front line. Solar's splits have been fantastic though. The Widow Mine's not finding the big mark. pulling back and using just Lings and Hydras to take out those Marauders wherever possible.
Nidus Worm finally coming into play. Solar's now just going to sit back and be picked apart. Oh, it's the Widowmine splash back on Clem right there. He is forced to flee. His supply finally dips below Solar's as well, but he does take care of the Nidus Worm so he can regroup on the front lines. And while he might not be back on the front lines of Solar's bases anytime soon, he has so many bases. He's going to have so much of a bank, so many obstacles before Solar can really dig in and do some serious damage to the guy. It is still troublesome for the Zerg, but he is making those moves to make the comeback happen.
Lingbane, Hydra, it's a composition that can go pretty far. From down 2-1 in the units lost to only a few thousand difference between them. Solar's fighting incredibly well from behind. Clem, though, has built about 5 extra command centers. He's already on 6 bases. He's got 5 more orbitals coming in the near future. I mean, he's just got a crazy amount of income. I have noticed, though, it is interesting. The moment the Niduses start popping, feels like the first 1 or 2 Niduses kind of panic Clem a little bit because of how instrumental they've been in Solar's success this series. When he sees those Niduses, he seems to kind of drop what he's doing at the front and almost panic a little with focusing them down. And he is taking bad fights on the front when Niduses distract him.
That is a very good point, and we can see that Solar is really getting more than just one thing on the other side of the map. The Nidus Worm that was eventually taken down, but now some lurkers that are causing problems. The attack also could have swung the other direction on the top side, as Solar might have saw an opportunity. He did not. He does pull back. He's going to wait for those lurkers to also have their additional upgrades. So the ones on the south taken care of eventually. Clem back on the attack to the north. Now his 3-3 is also done. Solar was very mindful to get +3 carapace at the very least, but this is a very good moment for the Terran. Vipers going for the parasitic bomb. Widowmines this time around not splashing the Terran as much.
Quite a few medevacs fall there. Nice play for Solar. I like that he's not overextending. The fact that he's holding his own against Clem in this game is very impressive. But of course, Clem has a lot of room to breathe. Triple Widowmine drop going across on the south. So many command centers. They just keep getting built. And Clem is continuing to build up his Bio Ghost mine count. He's got the advantage. Solar is going to need to dig deep. It looks like Infestors may be next up as Burrow is almost finished.
Eyes remain kind of similar. The banks look okay because they have the hatcheries all over the place. They have the creep spread all over the place. They have the run-by set up all over the place. No, it's the Terran that does it now. They're the ones that expanded on location with way too many bases, but of course very on point actually in today's meta. And so Clem feels like he eventually is going to win, but actually defeating Solar is still another question. He is going to hold on as long as possible. With another base coming to the bottom left, Solar is trying to get his own economy up and running, but Clem is the one building the bank.
Clem with the majority of income advantage over the last 10 minutes of this game. He's got Cloak on the way for his Ghosts. Advanced Ballistics, that is the Liberator range upgrade. Trying to defend bases in all corners. Is the Planetary behind this? It should be.
Yes, I think so. Yep, and indeed it is. And it really should be, right? Because this is going to be difficult to defend all the bases as a Terran. They are still overall the less mobile race, although, you know, Clem doesn't really make it look like it. So the Planetary is going to be instrumental for small packets of units to defend if the other units are elsewhere, as we see here. But of course, ditto on Solar's side. He could have a little too few as far as the units to defend this space. So now those go down. The drones will go down. The reinforcing Lings will just go in a conga line and get obliterated. And this is how Clem kills a hatchery potentially. He's actually going to skedaddle. The scan revealed the rest of the army coming through. Focus to the top side at this point, where lurkers are doing a great job helping Solar defend.
Why kill a hatchery when you can hold it hostage and get Solar to trickle his units in and just bleed them dry? I feel like every time Solar's army kind of comes in a line like this, the Bio guns down the front units very efficiently before picking up and pulling back. Great Widowmine hit as well behind it. Turrets taking out Overseers. The Nidus Worm, I think, got shut down behind this. There's so much going on, though. It's hard to keep track of everything. Looks like, indeed, that Nidus Worm went down. Only 7 SCVs falling on the defense for Clem. And he, of course, has got so much money. He's sniping so many units every time as well. I feel like that unit's lost tab has got to be going way back in his favor.
It's kind of crazy seeing the Terran with so much more bank. My goodness. Still dealing with the Nidus Worms as well. A couple of SCVs did go down, but that still means Clem is at 79. So I think he's okay. He's getting up to +3 armor, which is going to help the medevac, sure, but then also the eventual Liberators that are usually an addition at this point in time. There we go. Exactly that. They'll go for harassment. They'll draw the line on the sand on the offensive. Maybe they won't even have to if the Marines and Ghosts can stand their ground. Oh, Vipers, hello. What were you doing?
getting caught out there. There's so much going on. Solar, of course, losing track of his Vipers in the midst of it. Finally, Infestors are being added, and not a moment too soon. Solar is on the ropes. He's out of bank. He can't quite remax just yet, and Clem is all over him. Clem has so much insurance. Solar's going to have to kill him 4 times over to really get him out of this game. Clem's just got so much money, so much production. He's got 1 billion bases, and his upgrades, of course, outstripping, not to mention the Liberator range transition. Just adding problems, stacking them on top of each other, and Solar has to solve a near impossible problem in this game.
Things have been able to slow down a little, but it's just such a different pace. Clem is not all over the place, clearly struggling and suffocating. Now he's able to get to that point where he can be the attacker, he can be the aggressor, he can be the macroer, he can also be the scanner. No longer needing to desperately mule drop because all the SCVs are dead. He's scanning every which way you look to make sure that the Infestors do not come up on him when he's least expecting it. Now this is a continued chase from the Zerg. It's actually looking pretty good for Solar as he does want more. Clem forced to completely flee to his third base, losing some SCVs in the process, but he is getting revenge. Topside, Ghost and Bio taking down the hatchery, potentially taking down the lurkers as well, and they could find more onto that triangle base.
Looks good until you get the bill at the end of the day. Solar is paying so much every time you push Clem back because Clem is just kiting for screen after screen because there's no creep spread. 2 of the 3 Infestors already got taken down. There is a 15,000 resource loss advantage for Clem. Oh, a Fungal does come down, does get rid of 1 full medevac, can't get any more, and even the Liberators there making him pay a tax for it. Solar just unable to actually punish Clem, and every time he crushes one side, he gets crushed on the other side. And it's not really a crush. Every time, I should say, he chases Clem back on one side of the map, he gets crushed on the other side. He's never able to find a big victory.
7,000 mineral bank right now for Clem. And I think the only reason they doesn't have gas, actually no, he does have all of his gases, so gas could still be a problem. Yeah, Terran doesn't need it as much. He could go Mass Marine, it's a good unit. Yeah. But Ghost and Liberators, Widow Mines, and Medevacs are still important, so that is maybe a limiting factor, but let's be real. 7,000 plus minerals in the bank of Clem. He is feeling confident. He's maxed out. He's got the additional Liberators with a hell of a lot of armor as well. He just sniped all the Vipers. The behind Infestor is great. It just isn't enough. Oh, and the misclick. Ugh.
Yeah, that is the panic accidental burrow there for Solar. He is getting run over. It's just too much of an advantage. Like we said, we haven't seen Solar this far behind in the mid-game against Clem all series. The fact that he fought and survived this long shows that Solar has massive skill. He has the ability to dance with Clem because very few players are able to dance this well from such a bad early game. And yet Solar has really made a game out of this despite his hardest efforts though. It does feel like Clem is one good fight away from getting the Zerg out of here.
Clem is doubling the army supply. The Fungals don't even seem to matter anymore, so despite a lot of them being very good, there wasn't any reason to hype him up. Clem looking very chill actually after a very important win. He was on his last life. Now it is both him and Solar down to the wire. Who will advance to the round of 8 and face Serral, and who has to say goodbye today?
What a great prize waiting for whoever can win this series. Very curious about, of course, what exactly the tech issue was and that sort of stuff, but I'm sure we'll be able to fill you all in later once we get all of that information. And it is one of these series where what a crazy back and forth.